Hello people, it's quite windy, so I do hope you can hear me, but I am back. And recently I put these two stories on my Instagram asking for questions for you guys to ask me, and I said I'll answer them fully honestly. As you can see, I chose the best 4 questions because there was quite a few questions, but the best 4 that will give the best answers, they're the ones I chose. So let's just get straight into it. First question, as you can see right here, what would you say is the hardest part of doing rent to rent? This question is a great question because a lot of people are scared to start rent to rent, and I feel like someone who's actually done it to give you the actual hardest things is quite useful. So rather than you being scared about something that may not even happen, I thought, you know what, let me give you the honest answer in this video. The actual hardest part about doing rent to rent, in my opinion, is getting rejected by landlords. Now I know everyone probably says this, but it's so true. If you've never got a yes before, imagine you're going for your first property and you've been speaking to tons of landlords, like we'll say 20 a day, and you've been doing that for a month or two, and all you're hearing is no, you're going to start losing belief in the model. And it's human, like it makes sense. Of course you are. If you've never had a yes and all you've heard is no's, you're obviously going to feel like, you know what, one, this model's not for me, I'm not good enough for this model, this model doesn't even work. Like that's the sort of stuff you're going to start to think, and it does happen. When you get a few no's, you start to think, is it me thing? But then you need to realize some landlords are just going to say no and some are just going to say yes. They're already predetermined which ones are going to say yes or no. It's just about it's a numbers game. It's you need to find the ones that are going to say yes by simply reaching out to as many as you can. If you reach out to 25 and they're all no's, nothing is saying that 26th one won't be a yes at all. Like there's no science, no probabilities, nothing saying that the 26th landlord that you did not speak to won't be a yes. So that's why it's literally just about keeping it moving, and that does get pretty hard. Like I can imagine people quitting because, like, I mean, I don't really blame them. Like if they have no hope and they've got no one around them that's done it and they're just getting no, I don't really blame them for quitting. But if you only have 0 chance of succeeding if you quit, and that's the truth. So that was the first question, and I hope I did answer that well. That's my opinion. I do believe that the hardest thing about rent to rent is that, because once you have the properties, running them is not hard. Like everything's pretty much automated, so that's all easy. It's just about getting over the fact that it's not a you thing all the time. Sometimes it's simply just the landlord who is stubborn. That's it, and there's nothing you can do to sort of sway the landlord, and that happens. But yeah, that was the first question. Hope I did answer that well. The next question I got, which was a really good one, this is for the hosts who already have a property or multiple properties. How do you maximize bookings and get your calendar full? This question is great because, yeah, once you have a set of keys, you're all excited, you're happy, you have a property, you have that, and when it wears off, that's when you realize, oh my, I have a property and I have to make money from it now, because if not, I'll be paying rent from my own pocket for the next 2 years or however long your contracts are. So this is a very, very good question, and my honest answer to it is simply by optimizing your listing. That's all you have to do. Optimizing your listing and calendar management. Calendar management means, I'll put it in an example. So if your calendar is open for any amount of stays, amount of night stays. So what I mean is, right now it is, what month is it? It's June. So in August, if someone's allowed to book 2 nights, and let's say they do it, for example, you've technically stopped yourself from getting a 60+ night booking, or if you know what I'm trying to say. So I'll put numbers to it so it makes more sense. So say if somebody books your place today on August the 12th until August the 14th, but someone else is on the market the next day and they're saying, I need somewhere to stay from July the 29th until September the 12th. You've technically taken your property off the market for that person because it won't show up, because it's already technically booked out for them 2 days, so you actually won't have the chance to even accommodate that person who's looking for that 40+ night stay. So that's what I mean by calendar management. And by optimizing your listings, what I mean is by simply calling out your target audience. If you just have a property in the city centre and it's called property in city centre, nobody is going to know who it's for, sort of thing. However, it's literal basic psychology. If you call out the audience, for example, if you're looking to host contractors and you say 2-bed property in city centre, great for contractors, you're so much more likely to get a contractor booking that property. And I know it sounds crazy, but that just is the case. Like, that's how I'd recommend going about it. Also, outbound is a very good method as well. Outbound to the council, outbound to contractor companies, outbound to any professional companies who need to accommodate people on like a monthly basis. So that is how I would say the best ways to get your calendar full are, especially outbound. You're gonna have to do a bit more manual work because you're gonna have to be calling people, emailing people, all that sort of stuff, but it's so worth it. When you land a good council contract, your property is gonna be set for a long time. Like, you will have potentially 6 to 8 months just completely booked out, 6 weeks worth advance, so that's what you'll get paid. So they'll pay for the first 6 weeks, then after 6 weeks they'll pay again for another 6 weeks, and it'll just continue until that like 8-month period is over. So landing a good like council contract is honestly the best thing when it comes to rent. So the next question is, what can you do to charge higher prices compared to the rest of the market? And again, I chose this question because it's for people who already have a property. So what can you actually do? In my opinion, there are 2 things. The first thing is what everyone says, and that's amenities and stuff like that. Having amenities is good, such as a pool table. If you have like a hot tub, that's really good. If you have parking, even, that's really good. But on top of like having the amenities, you need to mention the amenities in the listing. If the potential guest does not see the amenities in the listing, they're not going to click it. It just technically doesn't exist then. So you need to literally mention it in the title. Basically, 2-bed flat in city centre, no, free parking. That's what you need to do. That is how you can definitely charge a bit higher than a property that doesn't mention the free parking, because it's just more obvious. It's more obvious to the person that's looking to actually book a place to stay. And then on top of that, what I would recommend in terms of sort of increasing the rates is also to get better reviews. I know it's easier said than done, but what you actually need to do is provide a good service and do not lie in your listing. If you have a pool table, say you have a pool table. If you don't have a pool table, don't say that you have a pool table, if you know what I'm trying to say. And getting good reviews and collecting them is a lot more social proof. This tells another guest that's potentially going to book your place. For example, say if you have like 139 5-star reviews, this would tell that potential guest that 139 different people have booked with this particular host in this particular property and they've enjoyed their stay. That is a lot more social proof than a property with 0 reviews but it has a pool table, for example. I hope that makes sense as well, and definitely take that into account. Look for reviews. Nothing is more important than reviews when another guest is looking to book your place. So the last question is, why wouldn't I run a property as a buy-to-let? Now, the reason I chose this is because, again, it's for people who are looking to get into the rent-to-rent model rather than people who are already in it, and I thought it'd be good to like include in this video. So the main reason people tend to go for rent-to-rent over buy-to-let is simply due to cash flow. Rent-to-rent, you put a lot less money down and you get more cash flow. However, buy-to-let, you're going to have to put easily 30-40k plus, depending on where you're looking at. With the rent-to-rent, you can literally get started with about 5 to 7k depending on the area. Even if the deal is good enough, you can get started with realistically 3 to 5k. And when you put that 3 to 5k down and you have all the systems in place, you're looking at about 1k per month plus profit every single month. And as you can see, you get your initial investment back well within 6 months, and on top of that, you're getting a continuous £1,000 per month profit every month after that. So that's why, personally, that's why we did rent-to-rent over buy-to-let, because you need a lot less to start and you get a lot more cash flow from it. Buy-to-let is more of like a capital appreciation method. So instead of actually buying it just for cash flow, people buy it and then they wait 10-20 years and then they sell it, or they just keep it and give it down to the people below them, like their children, for example. That's why people who are like our age would rather go towards rent-to-rent, simply because it costs a lot less to start. But yeah, that is the 4 questions for this video. If you did like this style of video, please let me know in the comments. Please subscribe, please like. All feedback is greatly appreciated, and I will be putting more questionnaires on my story so you guys can ask any questions you'd like, and I will answer them completely honestly in a YouTube video just like this. Hope you guys did enjoy that. See you in the next video.